Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are diving straight into a truly fascinating paradox from the world of sports science, and we're going to completely dismantle what you thought you knew about athletic instinct. Look, most of us watch professional sports, and we just assume that the greatest players out there possess, superhuman reflexes. We think they're literally just wired to be faster than the rest of us. But cognitive science has actually proven that this kind of athletic instinct, this raw, unthinking speed, is largely a complete myth. So we're going to break down the cognitive science of elite footballers and reveal why the speed you think you're seeing on the pitch is actually a brilliantly constructed illusion. Let's kick things off with this paradox by looking at a 2016 lab test. Scientists wanted to measure exactly how fast these elite brains really are, right? The setup was super simple. A light flashes, you press a button. The whole point was to see how long it takes the brain to process a visual signal and send the command down to the hand. Now, you'd expect the pros to absolutely dominate this, wouldn't you? Well, here's the crazy part. Standard individuals, we're talking average office workers, the regular fans watching from the couch, actually demonstrated faster raw reaction times. They clocked in at around 195 milliseconds. Meanwhile, the most elite athletes on the planet, guys with elite neural networks, hovered around 200 milliseconds and sometimes were even slower. So yes, mathematically speaking, your accountant might actually have a faster raw reaction time than a Premier League striker. The best footballers literally lost a basic reaction test to everyday people.
And that right there leads us to a massive contradiction. How on earth can an elite player like Cristiano Ronaldo score a highly complex header in a pitch-dark room? Because, yes, researchers actually tested this. The cross comes in, the lights go completely out, leaving literally zero visual information, and yet, perfect motor execution. He still scores. How is that physically possible if his raw baseline reaction time is mathematically slower than a desk worker's? If raw reaction speed isn't the secret ingredient to being elite, what exactly is happening inside their heads when they step onto the grass?
Well, the answer lies in some truly paradigm-shifting research from Brunel University. They discovered that elite footballers actually intentionally suppress their instinctive reactions. Think about a defender making a feint, a fake movement that's specifically designed to trigger your natural instincts. For the average person, a standard processing node, that feint triggers instinct immediately. The body just moves in the wrong direction right away. But elite networks, they pause. And they don't pause because they're slow. They pause because their brains have been rigorously trained to ignore that very first deceptive signal. They are actively waiting for authentic data before they commit their bodies to a movement. A major study published in the Journal of Sport and Exercise Psychology looked at this exact phenomenon across 39 players. And it wasn't just a random fluke. Across those 39 subjects, researchers found a direct, undeniable correlation. The more experienced the footballer, the better they were at suppressing the urge to react instantly. So the difference between the amateur and the pro isn't speed at all. The difference is supreme control. And it turns out that kind of control requires a brain that has been trained to do something deeply, deeply unnatural. It literally has to force itself to slow down, right in the middle of absolute chaos. The absolute best players simply have brains that know exactly when not to fire. All of this incredible data leads us to ask this literal question, which, by the way, was actually the title of a famous 2016 sports science paper focused on Lionel Messi. Can a brain slow down time? Just picture the stakes for a second. A ball is flying towards you at high speed. 3 elite defenders are closing in rapidly. The goalkeeper is shifting. Your brain has to process a completely overwhelming amount of information simultaneously. For an average brain, this creates instant cognitive overload. Processing just grinds to a halt, and decisions are made way too late. So how does an elite mind handle this massive tsunami of data without crashing entirely? They rely on what cognitive scientists call perceptual cognitive expertise. Basically, this is the ability to optimize how you process incoming information to prevent that cognitive overload. And what that does is allow the subject to actually experience more perceptual time between events. Let's be totally clear here. The physical clock is moving at the exact same speed for everyone on the pitch. But for the elite player, they are efficiently processing data so incredibly well that it's almost like they've unlocked real-life bullet time. The incoming ball feels slightly slower. The gaps in the defense seem way more obvious. They are efficiently processing data to reveal geometric solutions that haven't even physically manifested in the real world yet. It's wild. And this crucial difference becomes completely visible the moment we look inside the brain using MRI scans. Researchers put players in an MRI machine, show them video clips of an opponent dribbling toward them, and then cut the video off right before the final move was made. The scans were wildly different. The amateur brains merely activated their visual processing areas. They were just passively watching the visual data unfold.
But the elite brains, they activated motor simulation areas. They weren't just watching. They were already running a complex physical simulation of the movement, mapping out the next 3 possible moves before anything even happened on the screen. This completely redefines what we think of as anticipation. Elite anticipation means they aren't actually reacting to what is happening. Think about that. By the time the opponent makes a move, the elite player isn't reacting at all. They are just confirming a pre-selected response. It's a decision they made half a second before the real-time visual information even hit their retinas. They are reacting to the future. They're reacting to what is about to happen, which is exactly why they appear to move with such impossible, lightning-fast speed on the TV broadcast. And this brilliantly illustrates that dark room experiment we talked about earlier with Cristiano Ronaldo. How does a human being flawlessly execute a header in total darkness? Because the brain executes that motor program perfectly without sight, relying entirely on stored neural shortcuts. Ronaldo didn't actually need to see the ball at the exact moment of impact, because he has seen that exact trajectory from that specific angle under those specific conditions roughly 40,000 times before. By the time the lights went out, the visual information was already processed, the motor program was already running, and the darkness was completely irrelevant. His brain already knew the future. Now, those 40,000 repetitions don't just build memory. They cause physical, structural changes in the brain itself. It's a process called neuroplasticity. This isn't just about some magical, innate talent bestowed at birth. Neuroplasticity is the brain's literal ability to rewire its physical structure in response to specific, repeated exposure to complex decisions under pressure. And what this tells us is incredibly empowering. Any brain, even yours, is totally capable of rewiring itself to build these exact same predictive shortcuts at any age. But you can't get there just by casually playing a game on the weekends or watching sports on TV. There is a very specific formula for this kind of deliberate practice. Step 1. You must force fast decisions under real, tangible pressure. Step 2, you must receive immediate, accurate feedback on those decisions. And step 3, you adjust and you repeat the cycle thousands of times. Studies on youth academies show that the teenagers with elite decision-making speeds weren't just born with a genetic cheat code. Not at all. They spent years locked in environments that systematically enforced these tight feedback loops, physically reshaping their neural pathways day after day. So bringing it all together, let's look at the core scientific truths we've uncovered today. First, what looks like raw talent is almost always just early, highly pressured training. Second, processing power and the discipline to wait for real data consistently beats raw speed. In football, and honestly in life, the brain that pauses outperforms the brain that fires first. Third, elites literally see a predictive layer over reality that is completely invisible to the rest of us. And finally, because the human brain doesn't neatly compartmentalize skills, building this kind of pattern recognition is a universal human capability. It bleeds into all domains. This isn't just a sports anomaly, guys. It is a blueprint for human optimization. I really want to leave you with this provocative paradigm shift straight from the source material. Instinct is fast, but dumb. Pattern is fast and informed. The next time you find yourself in a high-pressure situation, forced to make a rapid decision, you have to ask yourself, are you relying on raw, reactive, dumb instinct? Or are you relying on deeply built patterns that allow you to effectively slow down time? You might not be scoring headers in the dark anytime soon, but your brain is fully capable of building the patterns that make hard things feel slow. Thanks for joining this explainer. Keep building those patterns, and we